Hello everybody, it is Melissa. I have here in my grubby little hand Midnight Shift from Halloween last year. I have never had this on my hands. It's that beautiful black to blue. And I have tried not once, not twice, but this will be the third time I'm doing a reverse gradient. I have succeeded in doing those other two, but guess what? Every single time my phone has went into slow mode, is that a word? I think it is. Anyway, I've done the video on, and I mean, it's like been a few weeks apart, and every time it goes into slow motion mode. Maybe that sounds better. Anyway, so the video was not usable. What? I had photos of them, so I will post those at the end. So I'm gonna apply these, and then I'll be back. I'm going to let them cure. I like to do that. You don't have to, but I'm gonna. So to save time, I'm going to put these on my grubby fingers, and then we'll come back and we'll do the strips down the center, and I think they'll look really cool. So first Halloween mani. It's not really Halloween, but I want to do this dang reverse gradient, and I plan to do it. So here I go. I'm going to apply these, reapply, apply, whatever the heck. I'm going to do it, and I'll be back later. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Just like a bad penny, I'm back. Oh, bumped the camera, too. Looky there, looky there. Look at this. Oh, my goodness. Look at this nail. Oh, don't look at that nail. Look at these. Oh, my word. Let's talk. All right, so I put these on. Let me sit down here. Oh, my gosh. I feel like I haven't done this in like a month. Probably has been almost that long. So, wow. It's beautiful. How have I not worn this? This was like last year's Halloween. It's gorgeous. This is my third reverse gradient I'm gonna do. And my first peely base attempt. Not attempt, but like real trial, shall I say. So I have on UNT base coat and the Orly Bonder. So I also broke a strip right here, pulling it too hard, broke it right in two. Guys, I'm going back to my old handling the strips by my hands. If you'll look, I put my pinkies on using the anchor method, and they're always off. They're always off. Like I have a gap on either side. You can see, I have a gap. I went back and started putting them on holding them in my hand and putting them on, using them like look. I can hold them and put them on and get that little stretch. You know how I like to stretch them, get that little pull, and then just start. I can do much better holding them. It doesn't hurt the strip. So I'm going to go back to just putting them on, using them, just holding the strip in my hand. So do you and what works for you. But the anchor method just doesn't, I just can't get them on there placed right for me. So you can see right here, I've got a gap on either side, and I ended up breaking this one. So I'm going to do that. So anyway, let's get on to doing the reverse gradient. And I used these big thumbs, and I also left the plastic on. I know. But after trials of doing them, it worked best. So let's hope it does today, because it did the last two times I did it. Well, the first time I didn't do it that way. Let's put it that way. And they were like floppy. You know how the strips get. These strips are not real, some strips are just real sticky. These are not real sticky, so they may not have been really bad, but I mean, it's not terrible, guys. I've been doing this a good bit here lately when I've been working with strips, leaving the plastic on. It's not such a sin. They can be taken off. Watch me say that, and then what breaks loose. So what I've been doing, these are big honking scissors the size of my head, but I can't work with craft scissors, guys. They do not play well with me. So I ordered on the big Amazon these pinking shears that are actually like scalloped cut. You can see right here. You can get whatever cut you want, and I wanted a scallop cut for my reverse gradient. I just didn't want a regular strip down the middle. I just wanted a scallop cut, which is what the other two ones that I've done, and I'll put the photos of those up. So I start from this side, cutting from the back. That works best for me. And so I have to take a little bit off to start with. It's been a little bit since I've done this, so let's all hope and pray I can remember how. So I have to take a little bit off. And then you need to come in and match this up. I swear I haven't done this in a little bit. I hope I can remember. And I don't want to take forever. Let's see. I'm going to match it up and try to get them about the same width. You want to get your strip and try to cut the way all the way through if you can. There's one. There we go. Try to get this off separated here a little bit. As long as everything holds together for you, you're good. Alrighty, let's keep rolling. Alrighty, just keep on lining them up. Try to keep them about the same width, so you got that same, you know, kind of width going. So I'm sorry I've been absent. I'm not gonna lie, I needed a break. I was like, oh, that's not even. If I get like one that's like really out of whack, like that one, I'll just cut my losses and be like, okay, there's more strips available. Anyway, yeah, I had just some stuff going on. I just had to step back for a minute. I had some personal stuff going on. I'm not above saying that, so I just had to take a little bit of time. So there we go. That one's about the right size. So yeah, I just had to take a little bit of time. So plus these migraines, guys, they're wearing me out. These headaches are. My doctor has adjusted my medicine 3 times so far, and I'm still having the headaches. They're not as bad as they were, but I'm still having, I guess they're considered a cluster headache. I have a headache pretty much every day, but not a migraine. You know, not to that degree, but some sort of a headache pretty much every day. So I don't know. That's just, it is no fun. So I don't know. We shall see. Maybe it'll get better. I got an appointment at the end of this month, so hopefully they will bump up the Topamax again. The only thing about it is it kills my appetite. I've lost weight, which is not a bad thing. I mean, I'm not, I don't know. I think y'all can probably tell my photos. I'm certainly ain't skinny. But I've lost about, I don't know, how much have I lost? Maybe 10 pounds or so, I guess, somewhere around in there, which is not anything to be worried about, but I don't need to lose really any more. So I don't know if they'll, I don't need to cut myself. I don't know if they'll raise it up anymore. That's the thing, because it suppresses your appetite. So we'll see. I don't know, but I don't know if it'll help at the dose that it's at, because it can be raised up like twice the dose that I'm on. So we'll see. We'll see. So yesterday, today is the 4th. Yesterday, Lovey turned 5. Can't believe that. So, okay, I'm going to try to pick out probably the thinnest one for my pinky. Let's see here. I don't know. They're all about the similar. Okay, so I'm going to take it, like we say, backwards off here. Take the let me think, you know. Oh, I was going to tell the tale of what we were talking about. I was talking to Susan, and I asked her, I said, did I ever tell you all the tale about my dad and him fixing my car? And she's like, I don't think so. I was like, oh, then I need to tell you all that tale. And I'm trying to think if this is right. See, this is how my brain doesn't work. Yeah, this is right. And she's like, I don't think so. I was like, okay. Because I was like, I realize now that my dad was also suffering from the same thing that I suffer from. But, wow, this one's a little bit harder to see. The other ones were a whole lot easier. So, the way that I did it was I looked, wow, this is a whole lot. I'm just going to go with the tip of it, just most certainly black, and go from there. Because, yeah, it's definitely much harder to see on this gradient. It's a lot harder to see. The other ones were not as hard as this one. I may be able to get more than one out of the strip, but see. Even when you take the plastic off, you can, if it's not even on, what I'm saying is if you've got it and you don't even have the tab to tear off and you've still got plastic on the strip, you can use that little, little stick, and it's still not bad to remove. They just, a lot of times if the strips are real sticky, they get so floppy, and then you end up stretching it, and especially on like using this gradient, you end up stretching it, and then it doesn't even look like, it doesn't hold this, this pattern. It might, since these strips are not so sticky. Anyway, let's see, maybe, let's see if this one's long enough. It might be for, yeah, maybe. But anyway, I was telling, like, I realized my father had, like, dyslexia because he was working on my car one day when I was, like, 16. And I was saying I had this, like, puke green Maverick. I mean, like, it was like a vomit comment. It was, like, the color of, like, metallic pea green soup. If you can imagine, and everything inside it was green, like the seats and the dash and the steering wheel, and I mean everything was green. Every single thing was green inside of it. Everything. Hated that car. My dad made me buy it. I didn't want it. I wanted like this little pale blue Mustang, but he was like, no. Oh, no. My dad was a man's man. He cussed like a sailor. He just was like, no, you know, with some other expletives. No, you're getting this Maverick. I'm like, okay, Dad. I guess I am, even though I was the one paying for it, you know. Like, I'm getting this one, I guess. So anyway, he's working on it one day because I don't know what was wrong with the car, but anyway, he's working on it. And I mean, he can work on cars. He was good. Okay, so there you go. That may be very subtle, but when I take the photos, you'll be able to see it. Okay, so there you go. So we're gonna keep going, and this better work this time as far as uploading this video. So anyway, so Dad was working on my car. He had to take my steering wheel off, all right, and so I'm down there in the garage just hanging out, watching him, probably just waiting until I could get my car back, more than likely, instead of watching him, or more than likely being his like little monkey wrench person, you know, like, hey, hand me this, hand me that. That's more than likely what I was being made to do, because I was like supposed to be the boy in the family, so that's more than likely what I was doing. So but anyway, so I remember this like it was yesterday. And so he's like, you know, after a little while, he's like, I can remember him like putting the steering wheel, putting the steering wheel back on there, and him being like, all right, you know, take it out and drive it. And like looking at the car and being like, Daddy, and he's like, what? And I'm like, Dad, that steering wheel isn't right. And he instantly is like, what? I'm like, Daddy, it's not right. And he's like, what do you mean? You know, with a whole bunch of like blah, 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 expletives in there. What do you mean you know, MF and thing ain't right? I'm like, well, Dad, it only can go on, it's not right. And he says, it only can go on there one way. And I'm like, Daddy, it's not on there. It's not supposed to go on there that way. And he's like, that's when he says it can only go on one way. And I'm like, no, I don't think so, Dad. And he's like, what do you mean? Okay, this one can't be used again. He's like, what do you mean? I know it can only go on there one way. And I'm like, well, Daddy, I said, I drive this car every day. And I said, he's like, how do you mean a steering wheel can go on upside down? I was like, well, I said, you know how you drive and like the steering wheel's like got this little like thing where your hands could go in and like this. I was like, Mom went on and he had put it on and it was like this, like like the normal thing goes like this, and your hands could go in. The old cars, you know, people drove like this back in the 70s and 80s. And I know I did that. I shouldn't have, but I did. And every day I drove with my hands on that thing, and like I put my hands in there, and I'm like, Daddy. And he's like, no, damn it. There's only one way this car. Like, he's just take it out and test drive it. So here I go down my road, like tooling down the road. And I'm like, I was just thinking, oh my Lord, I'm going to get a whipping. And I mean, I was not above getting a whipping. I was in high school when I got my last spanking from my dad. And truth be told, I probably was dating my now husband at the time. I don't know. But I do remember I was in high school when I got my last whipping from my dad. And I probably deserved it. I'm not saying I didn't, but I wasn't. I was a high school student. So anyway, he says, go take it out, drive it. I'll never forget driving down the road and just thinking in my mind, how am I going to tell him it's upside down without getting a whipping? Like, I don't know if it can be done. Like, so I tell him, I come back and I pull the car in there, and he said, well, how did it drive? And I'm like, well, I guess it fixed whatever problem that you were working on. But I said, Daddy, it's upside down. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. So I, you know, try to tenderly tell him, like, Daddy, I said, look at the steering wheel. I said, and I sit down and I'm like, look, I said, I know I probably shouldn't, but I drive like this every day. I was like, I put my hands in there on this little things. And I said, they're upside down. I said, can you turn it around? And he reluctantly goes in there and like, turns it around. And it's like years, like literally like in the last month or so, I realized like my dad suffered from the same thing that, you know, I suffer from and that Mac suffers from. And I don't think Lovey does. I don't think she has any problem with any sort of thing like that. I haven't seen any problems with her. She's like got no problems, I don't think, thankfully. But I'm glad that genetic trait skipped right on over her. But yeah, and Maddie doesn't either, so it's funny. But yeah, it's so funny, like years, you know, however many, I'm sure Dad, you know, never knew back then. They didn't even know anything about that kind of stuff. But and how many times that, you know, and he was so smart and intelligent, but you know, it's just like those little things like that probably stumped him on things in his lifetime, and he knew no, you know, put things on backwards and upside down, and he was left-handed too, so I'm sure that probably made life even harder for him. So I'm gonna try to do this one on this little pinky over here, since this is my thumb and that will not fit. Let's see if it'll fit over here. Whoops, where did it go? Is that you? No. So I have got I've been meaning to do my, got it laid out over here. I just have not had a chance to do it. I've got it partially laid out. I've got a few manis laid out over here to do. And I've got one for one of my favorite YouTube channels that I watch. It's called The Lab. And I'm going to do one for their channel. I love The Lab. If you follow true crime, you would probably love their channel. He is so cool. I love him. It's mostly current cases, but he also does documentaries too. So, but he does a lot of lives, and I started following him whenever he started covering a case that's local to me. So I got into his channel then, and then I just fell in love with him. He sounds like Rush Limbaugh. If any of y'all are old enough to remember Rush Limbaugh, but he's like 30-some years old. He's from California. He's super cool. But his, you know, obviously, his channel members are called the Lab Rats. So I have these like, it will look like a Halloween Manny, except I'm just going to personalize it to make it for the Lab Rats, for his channel. So it's got like a bloody handprint and some droopy blood and all that good gory looking stuff. But I am going to put the lab on it. But yeah, his channel is good. But he does have a really good speaking voice, but he's funny, and love to watch him. There we go. Go for there. See if we can save this little piece. Gosh, I wish I didn't have to cut any more, but I'm gonna have to. Also, I'm anxious to see how this peely base holds up. We shall see. We shall see. All I need, though, is for me to lose one of these in the couch and some little unknown. Let's see. How do I have company? No, I did have, when I was applying these, I did have Miss Clara and I had Journey both in here with me. No, that's not long enough for anything. That looks like a mustache. And put that on like a little mustache. A moustache. Journey has enough white under her chin that whenever her fur starts growing out, it looks like she's got a moustache. And she definitely looks like she's got a moustache right now. She goes to the groomer this weekend. And she definitely needs to go to the groomer. She's not been since she went through all that sickness. She had just been not long before, so she's definitely needs to go. And she's so funny whenever it starts growing out. She gets that little white grown out and it starts flipping up, and it definitely looks so cute. I told her last night, I was like, look at her little moustache. When we're laughing at her. She just looks at you like, what are you laughing at me for? This is such a little love. Clara goes on Thursday to get her shots, and getting talk to the vet about her and her little anger issues that she's got, and hopefully he'll have some insight on her, and maybe he can give her something or give us some insight on her. And she's just, I don't know, it's like her whole little personality's changed over the last, it's been steadily changing, but it just keeps getting different as time goes on. But really the last year, my husband always is like, I think he is definitely worried, but he's always like downplays everything, and I guess it's because he's worried too, but he's always like, you know, she's been just different. I'm like, I know she is, but I said she used to always play with Journey when we got Journey, because everybody's like, well, it's because she's not the baby anymore, and I'm like, no, I don't think that's it. I said, because she played with Journey when we got her. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. She growls at everybody. Like, she growled the other night. We were walking down the hall, and I accidentally touched her side as we were coming down the hall, and she growled and snapped. Like, no, she wasn't going to bite me. She just, like, something, you know, it just startled her, I guess. And she just instantly, she didn't know what it was or who it was. Oh, that's sideways. Again, this would be a perfect time to have the plastic on the back. you know, so I could pick it up real easy without destroying the integrity of the little swirly thing. But again, these strips are not really all that sticky, so again, it's going to be okay. But if they are sticky, the plastic is your friend on these. So I'm just wondering how this is gonna all do whenever I haven't looked at the time. 24 minutes. Oh, cool. Just how this is gonna all work out whenever I do my cuticle oil. I have to file the tip of that off. I hope these show up. I think in natural light this will look pretty dang cool. Did I even put one on my thumb? No, I didn't. Okay. All right, I had to cut some more. Shoot. Okay. These scissors make me nervous. Even though I sew, I love to sew, y'all. My mom sewed for a living, so I love to sew. I was watching during the time that I was like just kind of keeping to myself. That was one of the things I did, was like watch a ton of like sewing tutorials. I love to sew. I can remember Maddie coming in here one night when she was in college. She was in pharmacy school at that time, and she came in here with like, I don't know, like 6 yards of white beige chiffon. She'd been telling me she was going to like some sort of a party, Halloween party in school, in college, and she's like, I'm gonna go as like a one of the muses or whatever, like a goddess type thing. And she had bought all this fabric, she told me. I'm like, cool, yeah, we'll make it. Come over. I don't sew by pattern, so I don't sew by pattern very well, but I can eyeball stuff. So she's like, I said, you know, just give me, don't do college time on me, girlfriend. Just, you know, give me time. So she comes over on a Saturday at like 4 o'clock, something like that. I don't know. I mean, you know, I'm thinking, I said, okay. She's like, can we do my dress? And I'm like, yeah, sure. You know, when's your party? Tonight. I'm like, what? And all she has is like a pile of fabric, a zipper, and like 4 of them big spools of that. I mean, we're talking beaded, like ribbon, but it wasn't even ribbon. It was like just beaded. It was beaded stuff, like for strapping. And I mean, yards of it. Like she bought like spools of it that had so many yards on it. It was just, I was looked at her like, oh my Lord, oh my Lord, that's my daughter. Yep, that's her. And I was like, oh my God, Maddie, tonight? Like, it starts tonight? Like, at what time? Well, it starts at 7, but I'm not going to be there right at 7. I'm like, no, you probably aren't. If we got to make a dress from the floor up. I mean, like, what do you even want on it? So here we go. And, I mean, and we made it, and it was gorgeous, and it had all this strappiness that went around the top. It was just a chiffon skirt on the bottom with a zipper, and it was all flowy. And then we did all these strappy, beautiful strappy things, and put it around the neck, and I don't even know how we did it, to be honest with you, but it was gorgeous. And I told her, I said, you better go and stay. You better go and party and enjoy yourself. Don't come home till it's over, because listen, that was a lot of work. But it was really pretty. But I love to sew. So I'm gonna trash that because I know it's all. I've got 2 left here, just enough for my thumbs. And after that, I will hop off of here and I'll top coat these. They will be really pretty when they're top coated and I get the pictures done. I don't think you can really see on here. I can't see from the top either very well. All I can peek up over is see the time every once in a while and try to not like run way over. Oh, I went ahead and took the plastic off. Did you see what I did? Oh well, these aren't too awfully since I'm just doing one also. Okay, let's see. It's so hard to do it this way. I can't turn my thumb around. Watch me. See? See, see, see? This is the ridiculousness of my life. Trying to figure out how to place this backwards because I can't turn my hand backwards. If you know, you know. If you don't, you'll never know. The struggle. It's real. Can I turn my hand backwards? I don't think so. Well, let's see if I can figure out how to do it this way then. Let's see. That is black. Yes, boy, this is really, really subtle. The other ones were not so much. It was, the colors were Smoke and Mirrors, and what was the other one? Oh gosh, what was the other one? I'm trying to remember now. Oh gosh, see, this is why I say keep the plastic on. Keep the plastic on. It's already broken. Look, see, and it stretches. It stretches the strip, and then you don't have your pretty scallop. Keep that plastic on when you're doing these. If you're doing a pretty little cut, keep it on. Oh, I hear my neighbor's truck. I bet y'all do too. Oh my gosh. One funny other story before I go. I know you always hear, I always tell you about living in the country. The other day, our little neighbor kids, Chris had told me that over the weekend, and I'm glad he did because that way I knew what it was. If I hadn't, I would have never known. He told me, he's like, little neighbor kid's got a karaoke machine. I'm like, oh, okay, because our kids had one when they were growing up. I think everybody's kids have had one. But I was sitting here in my office the other day, and I heard what, if I'd not known better, I'd have been like, oh my gosh, we've been invaded by, like, they've come to get us, like, you know, the aliens are here. They've landed, the mothership has come to get us, because it sounded exactly like this right here. Hold on. Let me see if I can do my sound effects. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. Stop it. Stop checking to me. Stop it. It sounded like this. I mean, it just went on and on and on. And it's exactly just like, I was sitting here thinking, holy mother, what is that? And then it hit me like, oh, I remember now. Those little kids got a karaoke machine. So I went outside in my depressed self and sat on the back porch and giggled because you could just barely hear the music, and I really don't think they were trying to sing at all. I think, see how that one was starting to stretch, but once I let go of it, it bounced right back because it still got the plastic on. So leave that plastic on. But yeah, they were doing their own thing, and it was hilarious. It was so funny. It sounded just like those old, like, Doctor Who, like way old Doctor Who episodes, if anybody's watched Doctor Who, or any old alien invasion TV show. That's so funny. It was hilarious. I told Chris about it. It was like so cute. It was hilarious. I mean, they weren't even singing to the music. They were just like, they're boys, except for there's one little girl that's 3, so you can imagine. I don't have boys, but I've been around enough of them to know how they are. So, it's so funny. Oh my goodness. So, all right, guys, let's see. That's it. I don't even know if it shows up on here. I think it's going to be a really subtle gradient, but I think it's going to be really pretty. But I will pop up, and there's always just a tad bit under, like you can see, that you got to take care of on the tip. But it's really pretty. I think it'll be beautiful whenever I get some photos of it in the natural light. This nail broke. That's the first nail that's broke on me, and since I cut my nails into this shape of whatever it is that I don't even know what I'm calling them, but it was during the time that I didn't have any polish on, that I was kind of down the dumps, and I had nail envy on, and evidently that stuff's got a shelf life on so many days. I didn't even have Color Street on. I'd removed my polish. I'd not have polish on in about 4 days, and that one broke. So, you know, Color Street does help protect your nails, so there you go. But anyway, I will take some pictures of these once I get a chance to. I'll top coat them, and we'll see how this. Also see how this peely base holds up. I'm anxious to see. So we'll see. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me today and for coming back. As always, if you've not subscribed, please do. I'd love to have you here. Trying to get to 100. I think I'm close to like 80 now. So if you haven't subscribed and you're watching, hang out with me. Thanks again. See y'all. Bye-bye.